Below the equator, the continent of South America possesses nearly every climate and almost every possible variety of scenery to be found anywhere else on Earth. Here are some of the mightiest waterfalls in the world, vast interior regions, the great Brazilian plateau, the Andes, and the wide plains of Argentina and Patagonia. All the atmosphere of the North American Western Cattle Ranch is to be found throughout the vast plains of the Argentinian Pampas, except for the trappings of the gaucho, characteristic only of the South American cowboy. The chief export product of South America, other than Brazilian coffee, is Argentinian beef. West of the Great Barrier of the Andes lies Peru, the land of the Incas, whose descendants today have little to remind them that their ancient peoples dominated the present territories of Bolivia, Peru, and Ecuador. Their empire fell before Pizarro of Spain and a handful of men, who enslaved these proud people and sacked their temples of a vast store of gold that never reached Europe. This treasure of the Incas is believed still to be intact in some forgotten tomb. The native Peruvian Indians are a gentle race, still speaking the language of the Incas, and still practicing some of the arts and crafts of their tribes. Here and there, ancient streets of Inca cities can still be seen. For some 1,500 miles along the Chilean border, the snowy Cordillera Range forms the boundary between Chile and Argentina, and the highest mountain peak in the Western Hemisphere, Aconcagua, lifts its snow-crowned summit to a height of over 23,000 feet. Buenos Aires, capital of the Argentine Republic, is a city renowned for its magnificent avenues and boulevards, the most noteworthy being the Avenida de Mayo. It's the largest city south of the equator, and is not only the commercial center of Argentina, but is also the foremost city socially, politically, and industrially. Some of the most exquisite marble monuments to be seen in the world are features of this great city, commemorating historic episodes. But they do equal honor to the masters of mallet and chisel, who gave eternal life to the stone in delicate figure work and graceful life-size groups. The Plaza de Mayo faces the Rio del Plata, one of the widest rivers in the world. Some of the older thoroughfares are as narrow as was the vision of colonial planners who couldn't foresee that Buenos Aires would ever have a traffic problem. Here's an unusual custom. The only middleman in this industry is the man who fills the gap between the cow and consumer. There's a novel artistic genius in Buenos Aires who is the delight of children and a friend beloved by hundreds of pigeons that he regularly feeds on the Plaza de Mayo. His hobby is the painting of their wings, gently and deftly with brilliant colors. On a Sunday afternoon along the banks of the Rio de la Plata, music fills the air as Argentinians serenade the city from the river.
Abrazado con el tuyo, pero el alma separado. No llores, mi alma, no llores, no, que por tus penas me muero yo. Eres bonita y preciosa, eres capullo de rosa cortado al amanecer. Eres bonita y preciosa, eres capullo de rosa cortado al amanecer.
Not far inland on the Pampas, the tempo of a typical gaucho dance is heard. When the dancers are exhausted, one who excels in the elaborate ritual of preparing mate or tea proceeds with her task. It's made from the leaf of an evergreen berry tree, similar to holly which has been dried. and when served in hot water, acts as a marvelous restorative after great fatigue. Northward is Rio de Janeiro, second city of South America, enshrined in the majestic setting of a spectacular shoreline encircling the busy harbor. A most unique feature of its clean and spacious streets is the decorative mosaic work that adorns the sidewalks. Almost every block has a pavement with mosaic patterns so individual that one could almost find his way about the city by memorizing them. The old city, which is now the business center, abounds in shops of every description. Vendors are everywhere, offering everything they can carry, but specializing in pets from the Brazilian jungles, such as bright-plumed parrots that speak Portuguese, and the marmoset, the tiniest primate relative of man. Once, the King of Portugal removed his court to Rio and brought with him the seeds of the famous royal palms. They have since multiplied throughout the country. The Jockey Club of Rio is not only one of the finest equestrian clubs in the world, but is also the center of the city's social life. Horse racing was enthusiastically sponsored by the Portuguese royal family until the overthrow of the empire in 1889. And although regal splendor is gone, society revolves about the Jockey Club, and the sport of kings remains. Brazilian women, though like all Brazilians they speak Portuguese, have much in common with their South American sisters of Spanish descent, particularly in their love of beautiful shawls, and they understand the graceful art of using them. A few miles from Rio, one may see the first stages of a most unique occupation. Strangely enough, the nets which are waved to and fro actually attract the beautiful silken butterflies, even as moths are attracted by flame. The butterflies of Brazil are much larger and more colorful than those of North America and Europe. After they're caught, they're sold to small shops in the city, where their wings are immortalized by a knot that was developed in Rio many years ago. Beautiful Copacabana Beach is a most popular feature of the Rio waterfront, and along the Avenida Beira-Mar, which is constructed beside a granite seawall, are the fine residential suburbs of Botafogo and Gloria. For a distance of 5 miles, this marble promenade follows the crescent shore of Rio Harbor. Of all the South American vistas, here is to be found one of the most magnificent. It is to be seen from the top of Sugarloaf Mountain, the gigantic promontory that stands like a mighty sentinel of the great metropolis and harbor of Rio. Few beauty spots in the world can surpass the loveliness of Rio within the majestic setting of the world's most beautiful harbor.